Hello and welcome again to Steve's Long Stay Workshop, this is an ITT Pinto or Pinto depending on how you pronounce it, a very 70s transistor radio, very 70s in fact, and it's one of these which you know, everybody had back in the day. This one's different because it's battery mains and it's also got shortwave on it, and also a tape socket on the side here. It's dirty, but does it work? The reason why I'm into this, by the way, is that I've got a friend coming across and he said he wanted this for his boat, so hopefully we can have it for his boat. If I've got enough battery to power it, I will. If not, well, I'll nip out and get some. But I'll have to nip out and get some, obviously. These radios, generally speaking, don't give much trouble, but they do give some. The ITT sets, I'm one to others of this era, had a problem with 8-put transistors that used to fail, so it's something which you have to look out for with these. For one reason and another, they just failed. I don't know exactly why, but they just failed. Simple as that. Usual problem we get with the aerial on this is complete, and obviously things like buttons as well. And so first thing we do, batteries in, give it a go clean, and of course see if it works as well. You don't get enough batteries. So what we'll do is, before I go and get some, I'll open it up, we'll have a look inside, and maybe we can sort out a few things before we power it, because sets like this generally don't give many problems, but they do, and so there are certain things which I would check anyway. Not just capacitors, by the way, although there probably are one or two that need to be changed in this. But there are other things which do give their fair share of problems. So, let's get in and let's have a quick look and see what it is and is not going to do for us. With sets that have shortwave on them, by the way, they do tend not to be very accurate on the shortwave band, but you know, being shortwave are putting sets from abroad, just, I'm not going to say for the sake of it, but you know, in some parts of the world shortwave is used a lot more than it was over here, but obviously it's not such a problem over here. Transformer, by the way, down here, that's a transformer there for mains. The radio, it looks okay, but looks don't mean anything. The buttons at the top look okay, but give them a little squirt spray. That's okay, the antenna's okay. The speaker probably should be okay. Actually, inside this is rather good. I noticed actually most of the capacitors in this do seem to be disc ones, so one or two electrolytics there, but we'll come to those as and when we need to. So this one might well be a go, as it were. The spring is okay for tuning, which is always in the set's favour, because I've met a radio engineer yet who likes tuning these things up and changing the string, but I'm sure there'll be one somewhere, because everybody's got something which they like or they dislike, and that is one of mine. Yeah, so nothing obviously wrong, although it does appear to be moist on the outside. The inside looks to be okay. There's no sign of any moisture, which is what I'm worried about. So yeah, so let me get a lead and we'll see what it does. Also, before I do that, some of these sets, by the way, they don't even when they're off, the mains transformers are still conductive. Yeah, they are. Let's see if this one is. I had a set recently like that actually. You know. So yeah. So that is conductive on both AM, on both on and off setting. That's I don't think that will pass muster today, but I think I'll leave that for now because it's I don't want to take this apart any more than I have to, you know. It's well with me. By the way, one thing I've noticed with these, and I'll go through with you now. You notice that these have different colours. Red and oscillate stage. IF stages are here and here, and some are RF, some are IF medium wave, and some are IF VHF. It's stacked obviously on this machine, obviously stacked, so that means that the safe transistor is used for both AM and FM, and so it looks to be a reasonable looking radio. Those caps don't seem to have got GUI, but we'll check them anyway to make sure. It's not got any of that Sony stuff on, which looks which goes 4 to a time and needs to be scraped off. That's in its favour. And yeah, so we'll get a lead and we'll try it. Have some batteries and we'll try it, whichever comes to hand first. I'm wiring the PP9, so it's got power, and that's VHF.
Just small and comfortable.
Very nice.
Variable borrow and spender.
Shortwave. You can do the right lot, but then again the aero's down, and it's come on. There you go. Put the aero up. And there's something there. That's medium wave. It's good and sensitive.
We are looking to welcoming you with more of the
and long wave, which of course has on it radio 4.
Having your ex-boyfriend turn up as you're getting with the new guy.
And of course the Irish station as well. There are more other stations you can get on long wave. The Turkish station that comes in sometimes, it's still on the air.
Gone.
But there's the Irish station, and that's another one which comes in sometimes. So it does actually appear to work still, which is a good thing, because otherwise I have to go inside and have a look. But it does seem to be okay.
Oh, me bargee, Barbara.
T&C supply.
As we start getting back out there, capture.
Therefore, all this wants is a clean and a check over, and it's ready to go. So that's what we'll do. I'll run it for a bit more to make sure, but this is nothing more than mucky, so we'll do the original things too that we need to do, and we'll take it from there. Okay, it's simple enough. The aerial, by the way, on this one is actually okay, which is something which quite often isn't the case. That's very much in its favour. I'll take the battery off. Doesn't run off the PP9 now, but that's the first thing that came down along with a couple of leads, so that's what I got. Basically a positive ground this actually, which is interesting. I'll try and get over the circuit and have a look at that for you. But basically now, it's a clean and check over, so it's quite some sets of this here. Now that they work or they don't. There's no actual halfway measure. They either work or they don't, and this one obviously does. So I'll just, like I said, do the read things and go. The transistors on this are okay. They don't get hot. That's nice to know. The aerial is okay. So basically it's clean it up and send it out. So when Chris comes, we can sort time, this will be ready for him. Before I start cleaning this thing up case-wise, I'm going to check it first of all to make sure it works okay on mains as well. I can't find my figure 8 lead. Bit of a mess in here right now because, as you know, I'm resigning in here and people are holding up, probably due to COVID, but there you go. So this is very much not do as I say, not as I do. Don't do this, okay? I've got prop clip leads from the end of this mains lead here to the socket here, and so with that well and truly out of the way, like that, in it goes, and we'll see what happens.
Be staying in the job if he didn't deliver top 4 in his second season, which he didn't, and Jose Mourinho was hotly tipped to replace him, and yet he still led the side to the FA Cup. Didn't say.
That's long wave, so short wave, I think it's a long wave. I'll just check out, hang on. So this is somewhere on here that should be radio 4. Well, the Irish station there, so that's okay. There's very little hum, which means therefore that the capacitors on this are okay. So this unit, despite being certainly 1970s, is okay to put back together and clean up. Now on a set like this, as this says, they just work. If you don't work, you use something simple. Like I said, this one appears to be positive grain, but I'm not so sure about that. But now, next thing we do is, well, both of those are okay, so I'll leave them. That's okay, so again, I'm going to leave it, okay? This stuff just carries on working. The 70s really was the era of good quality transistor sets of one form or another. So, you know, we don't... I would believe it, and if things are working, you know, don't play around with them. Or as Leslie John said back in the day in Television Magazine, let sleeping thoughts lie. So basically now we put it back together, give it a clean, and there we go. By the way, this week up here in Bolton, we've lost a radio station, and if we've not lost another one, we're going too soon. The station in question is Piccadilly, as it was back in the day, 1152 or 261 metres AM. Andy did a thing about that on Facebook this morning, and he did the thing about it here on YouTube as well. Now, the thing is that 261 metres or 1152 kilohertz was in fact the transmission frequency used for the first TV signal at 30 lines back in the 1920s. So that frequency does have a certain provenance, shall we say, from way back then. Which probably very people actually know about, but it's true. That reason, among others, makes me feel very sad that it's leaving us. I hope something about the frequency, something worthwhile about the frequency. Indeed, I would like to think that Caroline might take it over actually, because of course Caroline goes up the eastern country, no problem, but where I am on the west, I can't get it. I've tried and tried and tried, but we can't get it. So hopefully it'll be bought out by Radio Caroline. It'd be good if it was. It'd be excellent if it was. But you know, what I think and what radio people think doesn't matter as much as what people with money think these days. And yeah, I know I'm cynical again, but that's the way it is. So as I'm recording this now, there's a loop going around on the 1152 saying please tune to FM or DAB. Now, FM round here actually, it's the frequency in question was a community station called Tower FM, which we've been bought out by one of the big boys and closed down for this. So radio is for the people, I think. Radio is for the people more than anyone else. Yeah. And the way that people are taking it on board entirely for themselves is stupid. And I say that because if people aren't listening, then they won't be able to sell the adverts on station on frequencies like 1152. And if people don't listen and adverts aren't sold, then the radio station will not survive. BBC is different, I know, they're funded from the public first, and BBC Radio now actually is free because the TV, the license is now TV only if you want it. I know that a lot of people don't these days, and I'm with them all the way on that. But yeah. Anyway, this ITT Pinto or Pinto as it is, now works on all bands. So I can put this one aside, and when Chris comes, it's all ready for him. So there you are. It's ready to go, as it were. And also, by the way, with this one, you can actually play a tape recorder to it as well. There's two buttons on this wave chase which put down together do in fact do that as well. So again, that's something else which these sets have. This actually, despite its age, it is actually a very, very good set. You know, and I hope he really enjoys it. I really do. Anyway, there it is. Nothing wrong with it. An ITT Pinto or Pinto radio from the 70s. 4 wave bands, VHF and long wave, medium and short wave, and it works rather well. So there we go. You know, when I was, I have a godson called Harry, and he was here this weekend, and he picked up something and he said, "What is it?" Seriously, he did. And that something is one of these. One of these. A cassette. One of these. And he said to me, "What's that?" Seriously, what's that? Now, in the 70s and 80s, and before compact disc took over in the end in cars as well, the cassette was pretty much king here in the UK. It's really, by the way, very 70s, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Very 70s, that. So, with that in mind, I thought we might have a look at cassettes. So, abracadabra. And how about that? A tape recorder, a radio to tape recorder, just like that. It must be bad at, you know, or video editing. Anyway, another ITT for the same era, as you can see. And this one apparently does not work. Now, before I get into this, by the way, a few things about cassettes and recorders if you want to buy one. First of all, machines themselves, most of them on the market now are not all that good. There were two exceptions, but generally speaking, the Panasonic that is okay. Tecmon did a review on it a while ago, and there's a double cassette knocker by I think TIAC that is okay, but the other same mechanism inside, which is not all that good. So if you want one of those, go ahead, be my guest. I can't stop you, but your best thing to do is go online and get one for the 70s, 80s or 90s or early 2000s when cassettes were really at their heyday, and use that. Because cassettes actually, apart from things like this, which is Sat Zero, which I use as a one back and forth type thing, you know. Generally speaking, the old ones are better. And cassettes, well, like I said, good cassettes, well, there aren't many about, but there are some. There are some knocking about online still, but plenty of the older ones to be had. TDK backs and that sort of thing. Have those as well. And of course, pre-recorded cassettes, there's plenty of those knocking about as well. And new ones. Indeed, recently there was a Guardian of the Galaxy cassette, which somebody came and did, which were okay. Ferric or chrome. You see there? Eject. So everything seems to look okay on it. I'll put tape in and see if it starts. If it will start. It does. Okay. That's recording it. Record and start together. That's the stop. Hitting the wrong button. And of course, on this one, those two are not weighted down, so they're okay. So that's what we're up to with it. So first thing we do, I'm going to say this one also needs a figure about which I've not got, so right now. So my instant lead is here, which I can plug into the back and see what it does. I'm told this one doesn't work, so I'm not thinking anything more than it's not working. But I'm going to make sure that we do this relatively safely, okay? So, relatively safely. If there are such things as safe relatives, you know, but there you go. So they go into there like that. Right. Then we've plugged it in, and of course see what it does and doesn't do. Usually with cassette decks of this era, the problem is nothing more than the belts. I bet you any money that this one has got a belt problem. So plug it in now. Until they bang. None. Okay, fine. Doing nothing. Doing nothing. Pull the cassette in. Doing nothing. Still doing nothing. So this one has obviously got a problem of sorts. So thing to do is go inside and have a look with this pulled out, by the way, because I'm not even daring. Even I'm not that stupid. You know. So you know, I shall remove this that lot, and we'll go inside and have a look and find out why it's not working. Now also with cassette decks, you find with a lot of them, there's a screw actually hidden inside the battery compartment as well. So that's something else which you need to look for. So find a screwdriver that undoes the screws. Okay, don't then. Okay, with your big Bertha here. This screwdriver, by the way, goes down to a fine point at the end. So most things I can get with this screwdriver, which is very handy when you have a problem with one hand. 1, 2, 3. This, by the way, is a 75-volt battery system, and it's model number 5331. So I'll link for that. Radio. Also with this, it's called it's radio recorder 60. Why it's called radio recorder when there's no radio around is another one of those things which I don't know, but somebody somewhere thought it would be a good idea, obviously. So somewhere in here, usually under here, there's another screw to be had. So that one comes out. This one comes out. There we go, that one comes out, there we go. Magnetized screwdrivers, by the way, very handy, but don't let them near tape heads. Do not let a magnetic screwdriver near a tape head, because it is absolutely not a good idea. There's always one screw that doesn't come out for some reason, which is out now, and the thing is apart here on the bench. Now at this point, the first thing you do is always look. And the first thing I notice is that I think there might be a belt off down here, which I suspected. But also while we're here, I can see 2 fuses, which we'll check with the meter on continuity. So that's okay, and this one here is okay too. Right. By the way, with these actually, there's a setting for 120 volts as well for the American market, but it's in the back, so it'll take either. It goes to this transformer here, and then of course it goes on to the rest of the set. So yeah. So what I'll do, just to make sure that it's actually on, I'll put a tape in like that. Yeah, and press play. This is not a good tape, by the way. It's used one which I used for testing with. There you go. So now I press play, and the unit should now technically be on. So what we do now is we go to the socket at the back here with the meter and see if the transformer primary is okay. If it's not, then it's not the end of the world, because transformers, I've got one off another radio which will go in, so Okay. Yeah. The prime is okay. Okay. Right. Now on these transformers, the prime is takes the mains down to 7 volts or 6 volts for the battery supply for the rest of the set. Now, going a bit further, like I said, it looks to me as though there's something not quite right here, something missing underneath, which wouldn't surprise you in the slightest. So that is the next place we'll look, because that is something which needs to be sorted. Because even if it doesn't run on batteries, sorry, it doesn't run on mains, it will run on batteries. So it's well worth checking this anyway. So the transformer we can leave for now. The deck comes out with these 2 screws here. There we go, they come out, and we should now be able to get come on. We'll turn and see, please. Thank you very much. Something at the front as well. Don't know what yet. Hang on. So this screw comes out like that, and at the front here there's probably another screw which I can't see right now. I'll just have a quick look. Underneath here. So it's I reckon it's these 2 screws here. So we'll look at these 2 screws here and see if that takes it out from the case here. That's the next thing. By the way, as far as screws for tape recorders go, the belts for these tape recorders go, because we do go through quite a lot, obviously. Don't get the ones that are 100 in a bag from eBay. They are crap. They really are crap. Get the good ones. Okay, get the good ones, because the other ones are, of course, not really worth the money, quite frankly. And you know, if it's not worth the money, it's not worth the money. It's simple as that. This end, isn't it? It's this end here. So again, all times probably say loop before you leap. So always loop and wiggle, but never force anything. Never force anything. Always look and wiggle things in. If you're not sure if a screw is good to do anything, don't take it out completely. Just wiggle it and see, just slightly, and see what, and see if anything moves with it. But this one here, quite frankly, there's something down here. So hang on, there's a screw hidden behind that there, I think. So that comes out like that. And lo and behold, there's another screw there under here. So this comes out, and the deck should come out as well. Japanese stuff in particular, they're very good at putting screws in funny places. They really, really are. the problem is apparent, and yes, I was quite right about the drive belt. This problem is more suited to Phillips machines of certain vintage, but belts of this era do have a habit of turning to what is basically goo. Various reasons why they do it. I can't go into that here, but I will in the future if you want. But these belts just turn from belts into goo, and that goo is on there, and there. There's some on the motor spindle here as well, and the top. So it basically, all of this now has to be cleaned. All of it, because the units in question have got to have new belts or belts. I can't even see where they went from this actually. So I'll have to, if you've got the mind of it, I'll have a look. But having said that, the first thing we do here is get all this off here, which takes time. Time. That's all it takes, time. Basically, it's a big cleaning operation. So let's come up. But what I do actually to get most of it out is get a screwdriver on my fingers and just take it out in bits. This stuff really is horrible. It really is. And if you don't get it all off, then you get wout and flutter on the playback. You really have to spend hours doing this. So that is a problem with it. This unit has probably never been opened since it was made in the 1970s, and that belt has, well, it's gone, literally gone. You know, as is this one here. So now we're going to tidy all that up and order some belts for it. Right, now what I'm doing here is I'm actually cleaning off all this muck. What I'm using is rubbing alcohol, because alcohol cleans this stuff off extremely well. The only thing is, it takes a hell of a long time to do it, because the stuff goes absolutely solid, and not solid, but it gets everywhere. Literally gets everywhere. The stuff is well, it's frightening, quite frankly. I mean, look at look at that. Yeah, each one of these Q-tips is going to be used to clear this up, and you have to do it because otherwise the replacement belts, I've got some of it. I don't know whether they're the right ones, but I've got some here. If they're not the right ones, then I'll find out best ways of finding out how to get the right ones. But for now, it's just a matter of cleaning all this mess up. This is very common, in particular with Phillips machines. The problem, by the way, with rubber belts, old ones are generally cured okay, but the newer ones, generally speaking, tend to be not cured as well, and some manufacturers simply didn't get the belts cured properly. So you know, we're constantly changing the belts, and Phillips stuff comes to mind for that. Phillips tape recorder, in particular, the later ones, and there's a few of the early ones. They just basically don't. The belts turn like these have done to go. Now, curing rubber and curing generally is something which not many people know about. I know a bit. I wasn't going to talk about it, but seeing as I'm doing this and I want someone to talk about it while I'm doing it, I might as well do. Anything which involves big molecules or big strands of rubber or whatever, anything is cured. Epoxy resin, there, when the two get together, the two cubes get together, you get some time before it cures. Yeah, it just cures. Yeah, it goes really solid. That is curing. Okay. Also, by the way, we talk about paint drying. It doesn't. It cures. Yeah. Now, as far as rubber is concerned, the same applies. It just cures, and the curing process with rubber involves putting other chemicals with it, and to create a sort of a bond, as it were, in the rubber itself. Yeah, and then it's heated up, and then to dry, and that is it. That's the rubber cured. You see, that's how it works. It's one of those things which you do. Now, what happens is that some manufacturers decide to save money, and they save it by cutting short on the curing process. Yeah. So the belts go out, they go into units like this one, like the Flakes machines or whatever, and they're not cured properly, and they turn to goo. I mean, all the time it's speaking to you. You see? And that's what happens. So basically, it's a manufacturer's problem, this, from years ago. But of course, chasing it back, some manufacturers actually have in fact issued new belts because of this problem, but most don't. They just let the thing go to goo, and then somebody like me has to come along and do this for hours and hours and hours on end. You know, literally hours and hours and hours to get this stuff out. You know, like I said. Also, with tape recorders, you have to be careful what you use and where you use it. You know, that's something else, and you have to keep going with it until all this is out. Every bit of it is out. Whichever, again, I'm afraid, takes time, and time and time and time. Yeah. So actually, like I said, paint, for example, it doesn't dry, it cures. Epoxy resin, it cures. Curing in the form of rubbers, it's not dissimilar to vulcanizing in tires. Not at all. It doesn't have a link with Vulcan the planet, I'm afraid. So, you know, when it's done, you don't turn around and say, don't turn around and do that and say anything like, you know, peace be with you or live long and prosper. Now, why? So how it came to be called vulcanizing. It's probably somebody with a science fiction thing years ago heard the term vulcanizing and thought, planet Vulcan. But Vulcan, the planet, and Vulcan the process are not linked any more than that. Trust me that they're not. Okay? So, you know, there you go, they're not. I mean, straight away, it's still coming, loads of it coming off. Loads. I mean, I'll probably be here all night doing this. You know, probably here all night with this, you know. Now here, again, on plastic wheels too, by the way, it will come off, but again, it takes time, and rather a lot of it. Now, as far as putting the new belt over the old rubber is concerned, with a tape recorder, what it will do is it will cause wear and flutter when the machine is played back, because the belt won't be true, as it were. That's why. So it all has to come out, every little bit. Right, we've got the stuff cleaned off now, and the new belt's fitted. I did guess the right size actually in modern radio, which is impressive, but there you go. I've been doing this a hell of a long time. What you do today, if you don't, is get a bag of those cheap belts, and that will tell you the approximate size of the belt you need, and then with that go to somewhere like Modern Radio or CPC or somewhere and get a belt of the right size. But don't go off these things off eBay, because they are not they're not the sort of belts which you want to use. Anyway, there's see, there is fast forward, there's rewind, and if I put the tape in like that, you press play, there you are, it plays, as you can hear.
See a Hamburg Kuchenene Quinkos.
Whatever that is. So now at this stage, it's time to look at putting a tape in and seeing what happens. A proper tape. Well, not a proper tape. This is the Christmas one, so I don't care if this gets damaged, because as a tape, it's pretty awful. But there we go. So with this one, it doesn't have a hold down or fast forward and rewind, so I have to hold it, which is what I'm doing now. Okay, so fast forward, it seems to be okay. I'll go all the way, retrieve it like that, and then the same for rewind. So those belts are the right size. There is actually some play with belts, but if you're not sure, go for the slightly smaller one and stretch it, because they do stretch. Not because they're not being cured, but they do anyway a little bit. So it's surprising what you can get away with, within reason. That's the thing, within reason. So anyway, that's this is fast forward. Thank you very much. And now fast rewind, which is also doing pretty well. I'm holding it in because this is usually in a holder which is on the lid of the tape, so I'm holding it this way. Okay, so it's you know, try it that way. That's better. And so it should now go back as well. And back, back, back. Okay. So we know therefore now that we know at this stage that the power supply side of it is working. My ha-ha lead is not. And the one I got from Modern Radio today is, which is what I've got in there. I've got a new lead for this, or for any set of this kind. The figure 8 leads are very common, so you know, they're easy to find, so no problem there. So back it goes like that. Okay, and play. So in any second now we shall get a few bars of Salty's Family Christmas. I know it's May, but there you go.
We're here!
Merry Christmas!
Okay, yeah. So Salty's Family Christmas lives to fight on another day. Now at this stage, now, we've got a unit which is now working fairly well, and now we've got to put the thing together again. Now a tape recorder apart, tape recorder together are two completely different things. You really are. That's something which you need to always be ready for. They are literally two different things in many, many different ways. So now, I get the screws and put them in here like that. Holding the thing in place, making sure that there's no wires underneath where it shouldn't be, which is something else which you have to watch out, particularly with cassette decks, because so many unpleasantly positioned wires, you know. So I always have to be ready for that. There we are, right. So now we put these back in, and then turn it over and put the others back in as well. And as always, get them in so they're moving, and then and only then you tighten everything up, because if something is wrong, you end up tightening sets, untightening things again. It's something else which you look forward to. So that one goes down. That one goes down like that. Okay. And turn it over, and we get the other two, which are somewhere. One, and that's two, and they go in the holes they came out of in the back here, which are these two here, which were somewhat hidden from view. They're not now. I'm not going to put the I'm not going to put the those rubber things back in, because you know, well, there's no need to really. So there, that's in place like that. You see, again, up, over it goes like that, and we again have a look at everything and make sure everything looks to be okay. Nothing in the way, nothing that it shouldn't be. So in it goes again. And 1, 2, and with the always have, by the way, a tape or two that you can.
Words sung by Christians in Africa.
I do come from a Christian household. I'm not Christian anymore, but I do come from a Christian household, which is why I get tapes like Salty Family Christmas. It was my dad's actually, but it's pretty poor, so I nicked it and used it in here as something to amuse, and also you know, make it you know, something which it doesn't really matter if I get the thing damaged in any way. Okay, always have a tape like that. Always have them, because you don't want to put any, like record players. You don't want to put basic valuable records in something that's not going to look after me. It's exactly the same principle. Right, this is thing put back together again now. The cassette like tapes and record as well, and I've actually at the moment been recording music on it from the radio in the distance there. It's recorded now actually, so let's rewind that and see what it sounds like. Recorded now actually, so let's rewind that and see what it sounds like. That sounds okay to me. We'll come back together again now. The cassette like tapes and record as well, and that's the radio in the background there as well. So as you can hear, it's working fine on all bands, as it were, playback and record. The only thing I've got to do with it now is put this back on here, which I'll do in a minute. But before I do, maybe it's time to talk a little bit about cassettes, because one thing which is happening, I've noticed, is that people are getting going to the in cassettes all of a sudden, which is great, it really is. But please don't record, apart from testing, obviously on sets like the on tapes like this. That is a Type 0, by the way. It's a good one, I know, but that is a Type 0, because this is one which I use for Foster's Family Christmas. No, thank you. But over here, I've got a tape which was recorded years ago of West Side Story. There we go. Let's get that. There we are. This is we recorded on TDK D90. These are the workhorse, as it were. These were. So let's see if it what's it like. I'm not happy with that tape actually. I must admit, but. We can hear from that the sound is okay, the tone is okay, and that cassette actually is I've got a little bit stiff inside, but as you can hear from the others, the machine does actually work fairly well. Now cassettes, generally speaking, back in the day, I used cassettes not to buy pre-recorded tapes, but to put music on. This was one I did for somebody else I got back, by the way. So pre-recorded tapes, but they are about now. And one thing I will say is that many of the companies who did pre-recorded tapes did slightly different mixes on the audio. So the best thing to do was always to get a tape of yourself and make your own recording of a record or a CD, because particularly with vinyl, most of us had a tape recorder. Nowadays most of us have a CD burner, but I don't know many people who have a vinyl cutting lathe. So I've always preferred even to get the record on vinyl and take a tape of it and use the tape. That's what it's done back in the day. That's the way it should be, because of course vinyl, the collectible, and the fewer players the better. Tapes like these were originally invented as a format for speech only. The tapes, by the way, run at 1/7/8 inches per second, which is at the time on tape recorders was used for speech only, not for audio. 3 3/4 was just about okay for audio, but got better as time went on. But 1 7/8 was really speech only. So what happened? Well, time happened. Things got better over time, and it really came into its own in the late 60s, early 70s, and waited in the wings. The first Beatles tapes came out in 1969, 1970, 1971, and some of those now are not as collectible as the records, but they are collectible. Cassettes, generally speaking, I find that they do. I mean, this one, if it doesn't go back to its own, which is unlikely with this actually, I might have this and put some tapes in the house and use it as a sort of background machine. This one is from 1973, and as you can hear, it played and recorded fairly well. But unfortunately, it's 1973. They weren't the best by that time, so it wasn't a good deck to record on or play back on. Don't go with something like this. Nice though this one is. Go for a boombox or a ghetto blaster, as they were called back in the day, or a separate hi-fi system, a separate cassette deck. 17 and 18 ones generally need work, but towards the end of the year they don't. Cassettes came in various forms. This one I noticed does ferric and chrome, which was quite good for 1973 actually. Type 0 tapes are Type 0. I mean, we don't really do it a lot with that. I mean, that one is one of the better of the Type 0s, that. And the main thing with Type 0s is they've got the compact cassette logo on them these days. Pre-recorded cassettes, you need to know what the tape is. It rarely tells you. Normally, they play back okay on any machine. Dolby, by the way, some use it, some don't these days. It's not on modern cassette players, but it is on older cassettes, like this one here. So again, an older machine for that as well. And obviously this is a TDKD. These were the standard workhorse cassette here. The tags on the back, by the way, they're in on this one. If you see, if you see there, they are taken out when the cassette was recorded on, or on the pre-recorded cassette. They weren't there at all, as you can see with Salter's Family Christmas there. Also, I don't think I can show you this. There are different holes on the back of the cassette deck, because some players use them to work out what sort of cassette it was. There were 4 types. There was the normal, the A type, you know, chrome dark tapes, type 2. Type 3 was a mixture of ferric and chrome. They died off very quickly, but they weren't very good actually back in the day. I haven't got one to show you, and I haven't got metal tape either, because they now fetch a fortune, and they were as close to CD as cassettes could get, because with Dolby all the cassettes could get very, very close to CD towards the end. But in the end, CDs took over, and then stuff like modern stuff. But anyway, it's right there. I'll get some glue and put this back on. I'll also get some tapes that came with this. I will have a through. I'll have a quick play through to one or two of them and see what you think of it. But like I said, cassettes that you get from manufacturers now, generally speaking, they aren't as good as the cassettes of the time. Cassettes have also made a comeback in the indie world, because of course they're easy to produce as well. That's something else. So anyway, I'll go and get some glue that comes out of the bottle, because just throw mine away because it didn't, and put this back on and clean this, and then we'll have a look at to the tapes and see what you think. Well, the handle is currently glued and is being held right now, so we'll do that. What do you think about this? First of all, many tape recorders, you take the screws off the back from beneath and the back lifts off. These are different. It takes the front off, so be ready for that. Also, with many tape recorders, if something goes out of place on the workshop, mechanically, electronically, like say a meter in this, then it won't go back together properly. And never force it. Never force it. Just look, look and think. That's the important things there. Look and think. That is what you must do in that situation, because it will occur, and it will, of course, if you're not careful, lead up the garden path. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, cassettes. Well, cassettes. These machines were used really to put music on cassettes for people, but people do start to collect cassettes of this type. So what can you get? Well, first of all, first thing is always look at the cassette, and various types of cassettes and housings and are out there to be had. Some better than others. These here are the Norelco cases. And that's these. And these, generally speaking, last pretty well. Some of the others don't. Well, the case is as important as the cassette itself, because it's all like a record on a sleeve. It's the same principle. So that again is something which you always need to look for. It's just something else, that you need to think about. Anyway, a few ways to look at very quickly. This is an RCA one. These are mostly 70s. This is Best of John Denver Volume 2. Yeah. And of course it starts with the famous Annie song. can't play a lot of these obviously, but there you go. And you don't sound too bad on this actually, but you know, have to be careful what we play and what we don't, because of course we might get in trouble. Now the second generation of EMI cassettes were made by EMI. The first lot were made by Philips. This is the second generation, the very best of Blood Whittaker. Now these have a gold gold top to them, as you can see there, and these are early 70s, better time when this machine was born. So again, these are quite old tapes, but again, we can't play much of it. Also with the tapes with pre-recorded cassettes, look at the tape itself. You can tell in some cases what tape it is, but the most important thing is to look and see how well it's calendared and how well, because also the type zeros are kind of with pretty rough material, and cassettes they vary. That one isn't so bad. It's a typical 70s cassette. It's not brilliant, but it's what they had at the time. Buddy Whittaker there. A bit more modern than this one. This is late 70s, early 80s. This is John McLean.
How that music used to make me smile.
John McLean. Again, I can't play much of these, but there you go. There you go. They vary in quality. Do these sort of cassettes. Again, this is late 70s, early 80s. This is the Spinners, not the American group of that name, but the British group of that name, the folk group. And there are two different sets of spinners about. That's why the American group, by the way, over here, were called the Detroit Spinners. There you are, that's the Spinners. Now, most of these actually seem to be okay, but do be careful. Also, when you're buying cassettes online, always have the fella or woman buying off, because some problems with tapes is that they can be recorded over and then quietly put on eBay. I know, I wouldn't do it, you wouldn't do it, but I'm afraid that some that do. This is Adobe one. It's I think this, I don't know when this one was done actually, but it's a mid-80s case, as you can see there, the mid-80s case, the see-through case there. So this one is Michael Oldfield and Cascade. Sorry, Terry Oldfield and Cascade. I don't know if Terry is the same as Mike, but there you go, Terry Oldfield there in Cascade. This one actually has a much better rounded tape, very dark as well. I don't know whether that is, it's not marked as being anything more than normal, but very, probably a very good tape that. But there you go. So anyway, finally, I might be playing a bit more of this. I don't know. This is the speech-based cassette. Again, a bit of language here. I'll try and let you listen to a small bit of it, if I can. Buster Bates, by the way, was a comedian who made great fun of blowing things up back in the day. This one's called Laughter with the Bang, the explosive exploits.
I must tell you one just before you know, I must tell him this one. And I have this card, dear sir, will you come and blow 3 beech trees up for me on Saturday morning, you see? So I I answered the summons. And I went up to the Wall Farm at Oulton Park.
Yeah, so that's Blaster Bates. I'll listen to that myself later on actually. Blaster Bates is very funny actually. I've got most of his stuff on LP, but Bates is on cassette. Anyway, that's this is an ITT stereo studio recorder 60. It's come up fairly well with never lead. So yeah, new belts. Now, there are some people who will say that capacitor needs to be changed. Well, maybe not. I generally speaking, with this, I don't think on it should be, because the response to the microphone and that is fairly good on this. So I don't think it's going to need it. And I'm a great believer in letting things lie, as it were. So you know, I'm not going to. So there you are. It's Stereo Recorder 60 from 1973. Again, very 70s in its appearance, as you can see that. Very similar to the in appearance, in sort of like to the ITT Pinto, which had just now. So with a touch of magic, there's the ITT Pinto, and as you see there, it's very similar in appearance. So yeah, ITT tape recorders and radios for the 70s. Good stuff actually. ITT came from a Canadian firm called Coastal Brand KB. For a time it was ITT KB. Of course ITT made TVs as well, CVT 1, 2, 5, etc, etc. And they usually actually kept basically the same design right the way through. Also with the black and white sets as well from the late 60s actually. They were marketed as ITT KB. But yeah, it's a nice machine. It works fairly well. And so until next time, from Steve here in Longstone Workshop, goodbye, and may God go with you, whoever he is, and whatever he does. So until then, well, goodbye, and keep preaching radios. Bye bye.